Sebastian is an American diver who goes on an amazing adventure under the sea. On one fine day, he discovered a camera. He was shocked when he saw the images one by one. This must be the captain of the ship, he thought. A chill ran down his spine. Are you wondering what it is? Let's not waste any time and jump right into the story. Sebastian Jones was born and raised in California in the United States of America. He grew up in the docks and spent lots of time unloading the cargo. He spent most of his time around the waters and naturally developed an interest in the water world. Sebastian would regularly go to school like every other kid in Leh. He was waiting for his dad to finish work. He once asked his dad to start taking him to diving lessons at the beach nearby. Sebastian grew more and more passionate about diving during his high school days. His father supported his son's new hobby. He also encouraged Sebastian by buying him equipment like a mask and rebreather. His father would have never guessed that this would entirely change his son's life. Sebastian graduated from high school. He had to make his own decisions about his future, so he decided to take a full-time job at the diving school he had learned. He never looked back when he got his certification as a teacher. It was his dream life, and he loved every bit of it. When he wasn't working, he continued to dive on his own. He used to wake up early and go for a dive just off the coast of Leh every Sunday morning. He never thought that one of these Sunday mornings would change his life. He was ready to go for a dive on a regular Sunday morning. He used a boat from his work and took it to a great diving spot. He later changed into gear, took a deep breath, and jumped into the water. At this point, he had been diving for years. He still felt he had been diving for years at this point, but he was still unable to think clearly while landing on the water. After some time, he noticed that he had been diving deeper than usual. He swam downwards for some time. Finally, his eyes landed on something unbelievable. Even in the dark water, he recognized what he saw was an outline of the boat. He was curious and went to see what it was. Sebastian wasn't a treasure hunter. Finding gold in the deepest oceans was not the main cause of his adventure. He dived because it was fun. He couldn't help when he came closer to it. He wanted to take a closer look. The boat looked like one everyone would love to take out every weekend fishing with friends. He found it strange because it was completely intact. He noticed something shiny in the dark while observing the remains of the boat. He slowly swam closer to it and picked up the strange object. He looked at it closely and recognized that it was a camera. He scanned the boat and thought there was nothing more to find. So he left. He didn't feel good about the camera. He didn't feel safe in the ocean anymore and decided to head back to the shore. His friend helped him make his way to the shore. He didn't mention his camera to his friend. The first thing he did when he got back home was to remove the camera to dry it off. He wondered what he would find. He returned to the camera after showering. He was amazed by the tiny ecosystem living inside that camera. He opened the camera and was not ready to digest what he saw. He found many types of algae, sea cucumbers, and 2 stars. But wait, there is more. He saw an SD card ejection post that was still in working condition. The SD card ejected from the camera as he opened it. He couldn't wait any longer to find answers to all of his questions. He cleaned the SD card with earbuds and alcohol. He slotted it into his computer, and to his surprise, it worked. His mouth went dry. His hands started sweating as the images started to load. It was unbelievable that the SD card still worked. Deep down, he was hoping that the card wouldn't work. He saw a photo of a man staring into the camera. He thought it might be the captain of the ship. Little did he know, many photos of people of different ages date back to 2012. He didn't feel right looking at the camera. He almost reached the end, knowing he had to do something. These images motivated him to learn more about the ship and its story. Sebastian took his story to social media. He knew that his odds would be much better if many people were looking for the man. So he posted the photo on Facebook and asked for any information anyone could give him. Later, it was just a waiting game. After 2 weeks, he felt he might never find out the boat's story. Then, he got a big break when he was about to lose hope. When Facebook didn't help him, he posted about the camera on Twitter. Soon, the tweet went viral. Yet, no one came forward. He decided to try different methods to find owners. He decided to give it one last try when he didn't find any help from social media. He printed the photos and posted them around the town. A Navy member recognized the man in the photo. They got the first lead. He might be the man they rescued. He gave Sebastian some details that were finally useful. Jimmy Baker was an artist and photographer from Vancouver. He had lost his boat in 2012. This was the identity of the man in the photo. The Navy officer tracked down his phone number. Sebastian got a phone call that was a full stop to this mystery boat. The call was from a Navy officer. He said that he got on the call with the mystery boatman. He and his wife were laughing and mentioned that they were lucky. Sebastian immediately called the number the Navy officer gave. A man answered the call and said, "Hello, who was this?" He said his side of the story, and they decided to meet at the local bar. The mystery man was over the moon when he was reunited with his camera and photos. Both ordered a drink, and Sebastian finally heard the story about what had happened that day. In 2012, Jimmy was sailing to British Columbia, where his summer house was located. He ran into a spot of bad weather. The boat was thrown against rocks, and he lost his camera in that wreck. When Jimmy's boat crashed against the rocks, they smashed his boat apart. Jimmy was in the cold water, and the cabin filled up with water. The water rose in the cabin. Jimmy barely had time to smash a window. He struggled his way out of the sinking boat. The boat drowned under the waves. His clothes were soaked in the diesel fuel that spilled from his smashed hull. Jimmy fought his way through 100 meters of icy cold water. He was holding onto the piece of driftwood that was keeping him alive. He was one lucky man because the patrons spotted him and called the Coast Guard. 6 hours later, he was rescued and brought back to the shore. Unfortunately, he had severe hypothermia when he was brought back. He was thankful that he had made it out alive. He had lost hundreds of personal possessions in the wreck. This hurt him deeply, and he tried to forget it over the years by remembering that he was still alive. He was heartbroken about his camera because most possessions could be replaced. He couldn't believe his luck when the Navy officer called him about the camera. Some of the photographs on Jimmy's camera were strange and didn't depict a normal family get-together. Instead, the photographs are a reminder to be thankful. Losing something dear to your heart can be heartbreaking. Unfortunately, most people aren't lucky enough to find it like Jimmy. But when you are sure that things you lost will never be recovered in one day, luck decides to knock on your door. The sky's the limit for your happiness. This is what happened to Jimmy. This is the story of a diver, a mystery camera, and a boat. Let us know in the comments what you think of this story. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel to never miss an update.